is Nadia Ndia. I am a lawyer. I am an advocate trainee at the Kenya School of Law, admitted to the Advocates Training Program 2024-2025. And I joined the movement majorly because I believed in the cause. We were fighting the system over economic policies that were set to disproportionate the common mwananchi. So that was my motivation. We need a society that works for all of us. We need systems that work. So, yeah.
What are some of your experience, if you can recount and tell us? What did you experience?
Wow, I experienced quite a lot. I was abducted. About 2 or so weeks ago with my partner. And according to our captors, they had been trailing me for about a week before they took me, just waiting for the order to say, okay, now you can take her. And the day before they took me, I moved out of my house temporarily. I went to stay with my partner because I believed I was going to be safe there. But they found me even there. My phone had been off for like 2 days. I was communicating majorly with my laptop. I had my apps on my laptop. My phone was off because I had been told they were tracking me using my number. So, I was saying, sorry, ADHD. The day before they took me, I had come from school, from the Kenya School of Law. I wasn't using my phone entirely. Even the trip that I took from the Kenya School of Law to the house, my partner had to request from his phone, and I was paying for things in cash. It was crazy. I was living in fear for about a week before they took me. I was purely, entirely in hiding, but they still found me. So anyway, so at around 6 p.m. the day before, I got to the house and something just told me, you know what, check the window, like look outside. And I checked and I saw a silver SUV parked outside and 3 men got out of it. So I called my partner at that time using my laptop on WhatsApp. And I told him, okay, you know what? There is a silver SUV parked outside. There are 3 guys moving around. I'm scared that they're going to take me right now. I don't know what to do. So he tells me, no, just calm down, breathe, observe, text me everything, like tell me everything that's going on. I'm on my way. So I observed them for about half an hour. They were just moving around. It was like surveillance of some sort. So they were moving around, observing the area. I don't know what they were trying to find really, but that went on for like half an hour. Then they left. And around the same time they were leaving, he arrived. I was so scared. I was rooted to one spot of the living room the entire time until he got there. Then I was like, oh, Fuchs, now I can breathe. So that evening went by. It was very calm. It was peaceful. We slept.
What was your emotional state at that point?
My anxiety was so bad. I was having panic attacks after every couple of hours. It was insane because the day before they had taken my friend Shadrach, so I had a feeling that they were going to come for me next, especially if they went through his phone. Yeah, so that evening went by it was calm, it was quiet, we slept. I wasn't able to sleep much during that period because, of course, nerves, anxiety. So at around 4 a.m., I hear movements outside. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's the neighbors coming, getting home from somewhere. And I brushed it off as nothing. And then they knocked. They knocked at our door, and I brushed that off as well. The knocking got louder and louder, and at that point, I woke him up. I was like, they're here, they've come for me. And before that, I had typed out a tweet on my laptop that I was going to send out when they came, like, wamenichukua, but I didn't even have time to send that out. Yeah, so I woke him up. I told him, there's someone at the door. So he got up. I'm scared. I'm shaken. It is so loud. They wanted to break down the door at that point. They shouted something at him in Luo, nyerere something. He later told me it meant, open this door or we're going to break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to the door. I stayed in the bedroom, scared as hell. I'm still in my nightwear. I was fixed to that spot. I didn't know what to do. He went to the door, he opened it. As soon as he opened it, they put him down. Blindfolded him, tied him up, came in to look for me. They were 7 with guns as big as me.
Could you tell their faces?
No, I could not. They were wearing baklavas, they were masked up, so I could not see their faces at all. I could just hear voices. It was just voices. So they put him down, came into the bedroom looking for me. Mm-hmm. I saw their guns and, dude, I'm very short. So when I tell you their guns are as big as me, I saw them and the first thing that came to my mind was, why are they coming to get us a little girl with military-grade weapons? I'm not a terrorist. The only thing I did wrong was use my social media and my voice for a cause that I believed in, for a cause that millions of Kenyans believe in. So at that, I told you I was still in my nightwear. So they wanted to take me like that, but one of them had sense and said, no, let her get into something that's a bit warmer, more appropriate. Yeah, they didn't even want to let me dress up. They were just standing there, watching me, waiting for me to undress and give them some kind of show. They're sick people. No, but one of them, the one who had sense, mm-hmm. Yeah, the sense was constant. He told them, okay, maybe we can give her a minute to get changed. And then, yeah. So I dressed up. I just put a t-shirt and one of my official pants on and this exact jacket and a sweater, and I took one for him as well. I didn't know they were gonna take him. Initially I thought, okay, they're just gonna come for me and he's gonna get me out. But they took him too. So I took a jacket for him and they tied us up, they blindfolded us and we left. So it took us down the stairs.
Blindfolded from the house. From the house. There were instances where they used to take off the blindfold, like if we went to the washroom, which meant a lot. So they took us into the car. I don't even know if we locked the house. I have no idea what happened after that. At that point in my head, I was just like, oh God, shit. Sorry for the colorful language, but that's what was going on in my head. So they put us in a car. I didn't know we were in the same car because later on I was told there were 3. So in my head, I was also thinking, okay, where did they take him? What are they going to do to him? Not my partner. Where did they take him? And then later on I came to realize, oh, he's right here. So calm down a bit. So they put us in the cars and we drove for nearly 20 minutes, got to our destination. The entire time, these guys are hitting my head like, usijaribu kutoa your blindfolds, ukitoa utanikasirisha and you don't want to make me mad. So they're hitting my head, confirming, is this thing on? It was so tight, my head hurt so bad, my ears. It was crazy. So we got there, we sat in the car for about 10 minutes. And the entire time they're like, other guys came and they were like, oh, unda Nadia, oh, unda ring leader. Nkasichana kadogo, unda kana ring leader watu kwenda maandamano. So I'm like, every time I'm scared, I'm like, mimi sija ring lead, that's all I kept saying. And they took us inside. It felt like a house. So they took us inside the house and put us in a room. Later I realized there were 2 beds. So my partner was in the other one and I was on the one on the right. Still blindfolded this entire time and tied up. So they left us there for a few minutes. And then I think we were handed over. The people who took us are not the same people who were interrogating us. So we were handed over from one team to another.
I'd like to call other guys who are also in the room, Ernest Nyerere and Bill Simani, to also recount on their experience as well, so that we can get the conversation going and it becomes more an engagement. Thank you so much. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Thank you so much. It's Billy, correct?
Yeah.
For coming on stage. Ernest will be joining us shortly. Just briefly recount for us how the experience was for you.
Hi, my name is Billy Simani, otherwise known as Crazy Nairobian. Okay, for me, I think, the first guy to be abducted. So for me, it was more of a surprise. We had just come from a successful Thursday maandamano. So on Friday, I was still asleep throughout the day. I just woke up constantly to tweet and go back to sleep. So at 3 p.m., I think it was on 21st June, I had a knock on the door. At first, I thought it was the caretaker, because that's the only person that can knock at my door. So I went to open the door. So I was still in my t-shirt and my short. I went to the door, opened it, and I saw it was 4 guys in balaclava. The 5th one was a lady, because she had on a face mask. And the first question they asked me was, Billy? And out of shock, I answered, yes. Na hiyo time yote wameshikilia mlango. So they all rushed in. The first guy ran to the balcony. I think they thought that maybe I would escape. Mm-hmm. Then the second one went to the bedroom. And then the third one, it was this huge guy. He told me to face the wall. Alafu, they told me to sit down. And the next thing I know, I was being slapped with brand new wrist bracelets, yani pingu nyuma. Alafu, the other guy went for my laptop and my phone. And then they started interrogating me. First, they asked me to open my phone. They wanted me to unlock my phone, but I refused. And then the whole time I was asking, nimefanya nini? Nataka nijue nimefanya nini? And they silenced me with a few rounds of claps, all of them.
Wow.
And so I realized this is not usual, because first of all, I was just tweeting normally. I hadn't done anything wrong. And the other guy went for my t-shirt, the maandamano t-shirt, it was on my chair. I thought maybe they were taking evidence, but they wanted to use the t-shirt to cover me up. So the whole time I was pleading with them to at least let me put on some pair of trousers, but they refused. And then they asked me the last time, tufungulie simu tafadhali. And I told them, mimi niambie kwanza mnanishikia nini ndio nijue. They silenced me once again with a few rounds of clap, all of them. And you know, I live on the 7th floor. And that's the first time ever since I moved into that building that I teremka stairs na I think it was a few seconds, because they were too quick. I couldn't see because walikuwa wameni cover up. The next thing I know, I'm being sandwiched in the back of a car. Mm-hmm. I think there was one guy on my right, the other one on my left. And then we drove around for like 2 hours. So me, in my mind, I knew that I'm being taken out of Nairobi somewhere. And I knew this was it, because first of all, they didn't introduce themselves. Second of all, I've been blindfolded. So the next thing I knew, story yangu imeisha hivyo. So we drove around for like 2 hours, then they started whispering. And then one of them was asking for directions from someone on the phone. And then they sent him the pin. And then the next thing I know, I'm pulling up to, I don't know, one of them, they stopped the car, they came out. And then one of them was like, ni hapa? Then the others were like, yeah, ni hapa. wakasema sawa, toa huyo jamaa tumalizane naye hapa kwa kahawa tuende kufanya kazi nyingine. And I knew that was it. And then the next thing I know, I'm being taken out of the car. I was still in my t-shirt, my short, barefoot, hands tied behind my back. I've been blindfolded. The next thing I know, I'm being taken down the stairs into a room. It was a very cold room. Then they told me to lie on my stomach. They asked me they asked my name. I told them Bilisimani. The next thing they wanted my ID number. The next thing they asked me where I come from. I think walikuwa wanataka kujua ushago ni wapi. I told them. Then they asked me nimeshikiwa wapi. So I was like, I thought these were the guys that brought me here. So I think those were the other guys that I was handed to who were asking questions. They made me lie on that floor for like an hour. Then after an hour, somebody came. They took me upstairs into, I think it was an interrogation room. Those guys at the interrogation room were a bit friendly. The guys at where I was being held up were a bit rough. So the next thing I know, I'm being sat on a chair, and then one of the guys started asking me questions. They asked me the usual question: what is your name, your ID number, where do you live, your social media handles. They wanted Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And then the next thing they told me was, we're going to ask you questions and you're going to answer us. If you don't, first of all, this is not a police station, so they might not find you, so you have to cooperate. And I was like, this was it. So they wanted to know who was funding these protests. And I told them, no one, it's just the youth. There are people who are coming up and buying water. Some people are coming up and buying t-shirts. Watu wanajitolea tu. Then they told me, the reason why we have brought you here is because tungeongea nawe kwako, ulikuwa kichwa ngumu. First of all, we need you to unlock that phone. And I was like, mimi nataka nijue nimeshikiwa nini. And they told me once more, I'm the one asking the questions. You're going to open this phone because we want to see something. And then I just decided to open the phone for them. I told them the code. They checked. I think they were looking to see if somebody was funding us, and they didn't find anything. So they took me down to where I was being held. I think it was a downstairs. It was a very cold room. I slept there the whole night. My hands on my back, still in my short and t-shirt the whole night. So they came for me the next day. That's when they brought in tea. And then they transferred my hands to the front. And then after tea, I was taken back to the interrogation room. And then the guy was friendly enough to ask for a blanket. And then they told me, we wanted you to fast to meditate and think about your questions first. So I think now you're ready to cooperate with us and tell us what you want to know.
Perhaps, so, Billy, during the entire time, paint us that experience that you had that entire time, because you're talking of you being slapped at the back, you being tied up, your hands, having to sleep in a cold room the entire night. Just paint us in a minute how that experience was for you.
The whole time I was trying to think, what tweet gave me out? Like, what did I say? Because the only thing I know, I was protesting like the rest of my colleagues. So I was wondering why I was brought here. And the whole entire time I didn't know why I was brought there. Like, I knew this was the end for me. So it was like a psychological warfare, because first of all, they removed the cuffs, the handcuffs, and then they replaced them with, they're called zip lock. Zip ties. And the more I was struggling, the more they were tightening. So my hands were numb. I couldn't sleep the entire time. I was trying to like listen and know where I was, but there was no sound, no nothing. I didn't know if there was anybody in the room. So I wasn't even sure if I was in a police station or what, but I later realized the following day when they transferred the hands to the front, when I had the chance and lifted my blinds, I was in a toilet. I was actually in a toilet. It's a very small toilet. And that's where I was held the whole night. And then they would occasionally come. And when they came, they announced that they are coming, so I had to face the wall. Then they tightened the blindfolds again. They take me to the interrogation room. I think by that time, people had made enough noise on social media. I was all over, I was in the news, and they were tense at that fast, and they were telling me, your friends think that we have killed you. They're making noise all over. So we're not here to kill you. We are just trying to keep the country at peace. And they told me on Thursday, the day before they arrested me, the protest was so huge, and then goons came in at around, I think 6, 7, and they started burning a few matatus. They started destroying properties. So in their mind, they thought that maybe we were sponsored by either a politician or someone. So they wanted to know who was this that was sponsoring the protest. And that's when I explained to them that ours is a peaceful protest. That's why we have even printed T-shirts, and we have given out a memo that anybody who is going to appear in the protests, wakuje kama wamevaa black, so that we identify each other. And then they wanted to know how we were going to ensure that the protest was peaceful. And that's why I told them to go and look at my tweets. We had previously said that everybody should use their smartphone. If you see anybody vandalizing anything, take a picture, post it, so that when they try to pin the destruction on us, we at least have evidence. So they went through my tweets and they saw everything, everything that we were telling people. We had even posted how people are supposed to conduct themselves during the peaceful protest. And I think that was what helped me to be alive right now.
Thank you so much, Billy. Ernest, karibu sana to the podium. Just give us a brief introduction of who you are and your participation in the protest and how it impacted you.
All right. I'm Ernest Nyerere. I'm a patriot. A lover of our country. And I